And we notice Iran right now basically walking in the same path as Russia did a couple years ago, talking tough America, waving the anti-West flag in public, but deep down, still holding on this fantasy that maybe, just maybe, they play nice enough, they show restraint, and the West will finally let them in. What happened instead? So on June 13th, Israel launched a full-scale airstrike on Iran's nuclear facility, a so-called decapitation strike, aimed at taking out Iran's top leadership. The next day, Iran hit back with drones and missiles. But let's be honest, I think it was too late. Why? Because they were not ready. Because they thought we're in the middle of nuclear talks with the US, so Israel probably won't make a move right now, right? Wrong. That kind of thinking is exactly what got them blindsided. This is a dangerous strategy fantasy. Thinking diplomacy will protect you. Thinking being reasonable ones matters in the world ruled by raw power. Iran is not new to this kind of mistake. Russia did the same thing. They tried to join GA, they pushed for gas pipelines, they talk partnership and cooperation, and what did they got to them? NATO expansion, sanctions, eventually war. Iran's problem is that it wants both worlds. It wants to be anti-American on paper, but still hope to join the Western club when convenient. At the same time, it keeps China and Russia at arm's length. You can't pick a side, then how are you going to build the real trust? Now, here's the example, right? Back in 2015, right after signing the nuclear deal with the US, Iran immediately started cooling off with its tie with China. Like, we got America now, so we don't need China anymore. What did China see? A so-called ally or friend that jumps ship at the first sign of Western approval. That kind of short-sighted behavior makes real support is kind of impossible. However, here's some opinions, right? China does have a reason to want Iran stable and be friends with Iran. Iran is the major source of oil for China. If Iran gets destroyed or put away or put fully into the Western orbit, China loses a vital energy partner. And what happened then? China becomes even more dependent on Russian oil, Russian energies, which is not a great position to be in, especially in a world where energy leverage is power. I don't think China is going to help Iran militarily, but, trust is a two-way street, right? If Iran keeps swinging between flirting with the West and ignoring its own partners, how can anyone fully back them? At the end of the day, Iran's biggest weakness is not its military or its economy. It's the fantasy that the US will respect your moderation, that Israel will hold back just because you are negotiating. The West power can ever be won over with goodwill. This kind of diplomacy is a fantasy, and it's a suicide. If you won't be able to take a stand, you'll end up nothing more than a bargain chip, used to trade it and discard it. If a nation can't tell who its real friends or enemy are, it will never play in the game. And you are the game. Well, finally, I just want to say, as for Israel, I'm from Buddhism background, so there's something called karma. Karma is real.